So good morning everyone. Now we are going to discuss wide area network. So wide area network you know already. So what is meant by LAN, MAN, PAN and WAN. So this is actually a largest network which covers a range of large distances. It facilitates sharing of information around the world. So WAN advantages, so irrespective of their location, they can share their information whenever they want with anyone wherever they are locating. So irrespective of location, people can share their information anytime. So most of the institutes, universities, hospitals, company people, big industries are actually having their own WAN connection. So in that few types are there that we are going to discuss, few connection types. First one is leased line, circuit switching, packet switching. In this three leased line, in that also protocols only we are going to discuss. So leased line means it is a dedicated point to point connection type where a permanent communication path exists. And in this few protocols are observed in these lines, that is HDLC, and next one is PPP. So we are going to discuss about this HDLC and PPP briefly. So HDLC means high level data link control protocol. PPP means point to point protocol. We'll see next one is circuit switching. Circuit switching actually it is based on telephone switching network. And in this ISDN protocol is basically used. ISDN means integrated services digital network. So this just base level is enough for this. And next one is packet switching. Packet switching is actually available bandwidth is shared between several users. And the frame relay is a packet switching connection type. This is one of the type of WAN connection. So mainly we are going to discuss now about this HDLC and PPP. So we'll see what is this HDLC and PPP. So both are actually WAN protocols, and these protocols are observed in leased line connection type. Okay. So HDLC means high level data link control protocol. PPP means point to point protocol. So we'll see the difference between HDLC and PPP. Main difference is, and these protocols actually where it is actually these protocols are used means, see, if two routers are connected over longer distance through the serial ports, so this serial port actually enabled with any one of the protocol, either HDLC or PPP protocol. HDLC is the default it will be available on serial links, and it is a Cisco proprietary. This HDLC is a Cisco proprietary. So this HDLC protocol is useful for only Cisco devices, whereas this PPP can be used between the different vendor routers. Okay. So we'll see HDLC means high level data link control protocol, and PPP means point to point protocol. As I said, HDLC is Cisco proprietary, and this HDLC is only useful for Cisco devices, and PPP can be used for any routers, any vendor routers, and it is a standard protocol. And main difference between HDLC and PPP is authentication, compression error corrections are not supportive in HDLC, whereas in PPP authentication, compression, error corrections are supportive in PPP. And as I said, HDLC by default it will be there. I'll show you when we are implementing this in Packet Tracer how this HDLC encapsulation by default it is there in the router serial interfaces. I will show you. Whereas PPP you need to configure it. This PPP is not available by default, whereas HDLC will be there by default in on the serial links, whereas PPP you need to configure. Okay, so we'll now in this too also we are going to concentrate on PPP much. So we'll see what is this PPP authentication. So PPP authentication, there are two types. One is PAP, another one is CHAP. So PAP means password authentication protocol. CHAP means challenge handshake authentication protocol. So main difference between these two is if a password is there in both cases, but whereas in PAP the password sent across the link in clear text, whereas in CHAP the password sent in encrypted form. So for that there is a code we used in CHAP, that is MD5 digest code. So for example, see here, two routers are connected like this. See, two routers, this is PAP and this one is CHAP. So in PAP this router is actually sending its username and password, and this will check that password of this one. Once it acknowledged, then it will send the acceptance to this R1. Whereas in CHAP this is three-way handshake. Here if this router want to make a connection, if this router want to establish a connection with this router, if this router tries, immediately this router will send a challenge in the sense it requests actually a code. That code, as I said already, I said na, MD5 digest code, or we can call it as hash value. It requests that hash value and this will send that hash value in encrypted form, and the same whatever it sends, that algorithm will run here, and finally it will check this password. Then once this password match with the actual password, which is a reference password already there in this R3, once it matches with this with this, then it will send the acceptance to this R1. That is the difference between PAP and CHAP. So PAP will send the password, that is Cisco123, in a clear text, whereas CHAP will send the password in encrypted form using a code called MD5 digest code. So we'll see the difference between PAP and CHAP. PAP is a password authentication protocol, CHAP is challenge handshake authentication protocol, and it is a two-way handshake protocol, and this one is three-way handshake protocol. And the next one is PAP is done only upon initial link establishment. This is a remote node that, as I said, MD5 digest code. And PAP is not a strong authentication protocol, whereas this one is it will check the respond against its own calculations of expected hash value. Already I said na, hash value. This algorithm it will check. Once this algorithm same, if get matched, then only this will acknowledge. So that is what given in the last point. Here passwords are in PAP, passwords are in clear text, whereas here authentication is acknowledged, otherwise the connection is terminated immediately if the values are not match. If the values match, then authentication is acknowledged, otherwise connection is terminated immediately. That values are nothing but this code, MD5 code. I hope you understand the difference between PAP and CHAP. So we'll see how we are going to configure this PAP and CHAP in Packet Tracer tool. First we'll see the commands, then we'll do the implementation.